Are we recording? Yeah, we are. Salutations, fam. DarkslayerArim here. So, Seishun Con's over, and I'm doing a little recap thing. So I got my badge autographed by Kyle Herbert. For those of you who do not know, that is Adult Gohan. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So what happened? I think I got here. I was kind of lost and kind of just wandered around, and I realized I haven't been to a convention in like 3 years, so I don't really know what to do. And I was walking around, and I was like, man, I haven't watched anime that much, so I don't know most of these characters. So I was just kind of wandering around, but I got lucky, and I ran into some people who happened to be talking about Fire Emblem, so I just kind of hung out with them for a while, but eventually they had to go, so I was wandering around again. Um, yeah, then like after a bit it was like it got like really crowded and I got a little claustrophobic, so I had to like sit down and meditate because my heart rate was getting like really fast and I was getting like but some cosplayers helped me out, like they made sure I was all right. They helped me calm down, things like that. I Yeah, I like drank a lot of water, stuff like that. I was good after that. It's funny because they were like Spider-Man cosplayers, so it's like they were doing the whole superhero thing, and they were being like actual heroes and stuff like that. But after I was able to like get myself back level again, I ended up wandering out more. I found my way to the arcade. Um, they had Smash, but there was a huge crowd for that, so I kind of like didn't really go over there. And but the highlight is that they actually had Dragon Ball Fighters there, so I sort of like moseyed on over there, hopped in the rotation, and well, I didn't hop in the rotation immediately. I was just like kind of watching at first. There was this guy. He was beating everybody, and he was getting a little big headed about it. And I was like, "Oh, can I play?" And I was acting like I didn't know how to play. And so like I was like, "What does this button do? What does this button do?" And he kills my first character, he kills my second character, he gets my third character like half life, and I pulled the Smash documentary on him, the and now he will try, and then I OCV'd him, and it was the most hilarious thing because everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And it was pretty great. He like left after that, and then from there I what happened after that? So after that, like I sort of like just stayed over there and played with people for a while. There was a couple of people that like they went over. They wanted to play me. They played with me, and I met this one guy. He he was very happy to play with me because he wanted to like learn more about the game, and so like I had a lot of fun with that. So we had like a training session basically where we would play, and whenever high level stuff would happen, I would explain, like if he did something and it didn't work, I would explain to him what happened, exactly what I did to beat it, and why that beats that thing, and then and vice versa as well. And the best part about it is that like he was applying it mid set and like mid session, and he was like leveling up in the middle of the session, and it was like the coolest thing. So it was like the anime power up was happening like right before my eyes, and it was great because I was like Lord Beerus in the Battle of Gods movie, where like as he was getting stronger, I was slowly like releasing a little bit more of my power. And like I would, every time he would like level up, I would have to use like a new trick to like catch him off guard and stuff. And I just realized the camera's probably like super shaky, so it's like the webcam is like on top of my laptop, but the laptop is on my lap. I mean, it's called a laptop. But anyway, um, after a bit, I forced him. I kicked him out, basically because it had been like a couple hours. I hadn't seen him drink any water or eat anything, so I was like, hey, go drink some water, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, we went our separate ways there. I went around for a while. I took a lot of pictures of cosplayers over the course of the convention. I'm going to be, like, I'm not sure which will finish uploading first. The album of the pictures or the video or whatever. But I took a lot of pictures of cosplayers. There was a Ruby panel, so I went to that, and it was great because it was like in character. And I think I actually shared the page of the group that actually did the panel. I think they're called. You know what? I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna see this. You see the smartphone? I'm going to pull up my Facebook, and I'm going to look. I'm gonna look at this Facebook and see. He knows what he did. He knows what he did. So the page is called Fandom Family Cosplay. That's what it's called. Now, I shared it there before. They did a Ruby panel. It was an in-character Ruby panel, and it was hilarious. I loved it. They did a lot of improv as well, like in character, and it was great actually. It was like watching an episode of Ruby TV, honestly. So I very much enjoyed that. After that, no justification. You know what you did. No, stop. So what happened? What happened next? What happened next? Oh, so after I left the Ruby panel, I ended up going to. I went to this one panel. It was called like a retro game trivia type of thing. I think it was called Name That Game or something like that. They have a YouTube channel. I can't remember what it was called, but I know the game was called Name That Game. I went there and I was like, I want to play, but I don't think I'm going to get any of the questions right because I don't really know games like that. But I got really lucky. So, like, the first question they asked, because, like, it was like a tournament style thing. It was you against somebody else, and the first person to get the name of the game right wins, and you have to, like, yell it out first. So, like, the first game, I was like, I have no idea what this game is. I'm going to lose. And then the next game, I got that one right because it was F-Zero for the Super Nintendo, and that was actually like my first game that I owned. So I got like excited. I was just like, F-Zero, I know that game. And then the next game was Dr. Mario, and like the thing is, I knew what the game was, but my introvertedness actually like caused me to lose because I started to say the name of the game, and then the other guy started talking, and me being an introvert, I was like, oh, let me stop talking. But you're supposed to yell over people, and it was just like But because I got a question right, I got a consolation prize. I guess I got a button. So can you see it? You can't really see it, but there's like some glare. But it's Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I'm not sure if you can see it. So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I got Sora from Kingdom Hearts. And then like after that panel, I was kind of burnt because it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, you know what, I'm ready to go to bed. Because the next day there was a character design panel, and I was like, I'm really interested in going to that because I want to hear more stuff about character design. And yeah, oh, another thing that happened was, while I was wandering between the arcade and the time before the Ruby panel, because there was like some like an hour between the panel, so I was just wandering around and I found a cosplayer who was cosplaying Shiro from Dead Man Wonderland, and I was like, oh my gosh. And we ended up talking for a bit because not many people know Dead Man Wonderland, so we just talked for a while. I just like kind of bonded into that friend group for a while, and we just sort of hung out. And it was great. It was great. But anyway, the next day, so the character design panel started at 1, but I didn't get out of bed till like 11. So basically, by the time I was like ready and everything, it would like okay. Let's put it like this: I didn't get on the way to the convention until 12:55. So I'm like, I'm not gonna make it to this panel in time. So I got there. They had already started, but I was still able to get like part of the panel and all that. So that was really cool. They talked about how shapes are used in character design and how like circles are for more like rounded, bubbly characters that are more welcoming and things like that. Squares are for more like rigid characters that are they're a bit more thinking inside the box kind of characters. Triangles are more like pointed. They're suspicious, they can be malicious. Like you'll notice, like villain characters typically have like a lot of like angular things to their designs and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. After the panel, the person who was holding the panel, what was her name? Her name was Ivana, and actually, she's making a a comic book series called Kamikaze, and I talked to her about it. So basically, what ended up happening was we just started talking about character design, and I talked to her about character design for like 2.5 hours. Like, yeah, it was actually like 2.5 hours because like the panel ended at like 1:40, and we left at like 4. So we just like kind of like talked about character design. So it was very enjoyable for me because that's not really something I can just kind of talk with anybody about, especially at like the professional level. So like we talked about like character design, design, like story construction, a lot of this other stuff as well. And honestly, just kind of like had an enjoyable conversation. Afterwards, I bought the 2 books. She was nice, and she was like, you know what? And then she signed them. Yeah, she signed them, and I just realized because I was curious about how to spell her name, but she wrote it in the book, and now I feel stupid. So, so that was cool. And then, and yeah, that was pretty much the rest of the convention. Most of the convention was pretty much just me wandering around, taking pictures and stuff like that. So like I had a lot of fun. Also, one thing I would say I complain about is the fact that somehow I did not see a single Sailor Moon cosplay. Not a single one. It's so weird. That's like every convention you see Sailor Moon cosplayers. And I'm just like, I didn't see a single one. It was like, what? But yeah, that was pretty much. So pretty much like that was the convention. I met some cool people. Played a lot of Dragon Ball. It's funny because like I say I played a lot of Dragon Ball, but I only played like 2 hours of Dragon Ball. And it's like that might seem like a lot, but it's like for someone like me that's not a lot. Like I played 2 hours of Dragon Ball daily. So I made some friends. I made friends, so that's always cool. I got to geek out about Fire Emblem a little bit. So in the retro game panel, they would like when you went up to play the game, they would ask your name and what your favorite retro game is, and I think the guy I was playing against, his favorite game was Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I said Fire Emblem, Genealogy of the Holy War, and I got to blab about Fire Emblem for a bit because he asked me a question. The fool asked me a question about Fire Emblem. And so I just kind of blabbed about Fire Emblem and yeah, that was fun. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the convention and, I had fun. I got to talk to a comic book artist about character design, and it was funny because she was talking about how like I didn't need to go to the panel because apparently I knew everything already. but it's fine because I still learned something. But yeah, So yeah, I'm going to share her, her comic books social media thing as well because I like to do that. Whenever I, meet new artists and stuff like that, I like to show my support as well. And if I can help them get some traction, like that's cool for me. Yeah. So yeah, you know what? I'm going to give a little bit of background onto what this is, Kamikaze. So, I didn't really see most of the panel. I actually missed most of it. We're gonna be honest, but I talked with the artist for. I talked with Havana for like 2.5 hours, so I know what it's about. So basically, it's set in a dystopian future where an epidemic has caused most of plant life to basically die out, so food is incredibly scarce. And the main character lives in like the slums of this kind of dystopian world, but she's really good at free running, and so she's basically she gets into a fight with like a gang, and the gang think that she's from like a rival gang, and then the other rival gang thinks she's from and then pretty much she gets into like caught in the crosshairs, and she becomes a secret agent called Kamikaze. And the design is not actually on the books now that I think about it. There was like a poster, and I should have taken a picture of the poster, but eh, yeah, I'm going to wait. She gave me a business card. She gave me a business card. Let me see. Where's the business card? Actually, I got a couple of business cards, actually. Alright, so here we go. Kamikaze. So, can you see it? You can't really see it. It's like, eh. So, it's like you see she's got that whole ninja thing going. So, like, I thought that was pretty cool. I'm going to enjoy reading these books and all that. That's going to be cool. But me being funny story. Me getting that kind of absorbed in the conversation and like enjoying it too much. So like, I helped her pack up and then asked to buy a book after she had already packed up. After I had helped her pack up. So it was just like, oh man. But yeah, it's like I enjoyed the convention. I played Dragon Ball. I took a lot of pictures of cosplay. And I got a new comic book, so I'm gonna enjoy that, and we're gonna see how it rolls. But yeah, this video is like 20 minutes. But anyway, that's going to be it. It's gonna be my wrap up of Seishun Con 2019. Oh, so okay, never mind. There's another story here. So in the dealer's room, I ran into the artist that actually designed the badge. So I talked with her for a bit. Yeah. So she does like pieces on like that are like social commentary type pieces, and she did one piece that was talking about like consumerism and things like that, and how you basically have to like sell yourself to be considered an individual in society, and how it's less about like your individuality, if that makes sense. But yeah, and then she got pizza, and apparently it was the first time she'd eaten that day. And I realized that I hadn't eaten that day, so I was like, you know what? Let's take care of ourselves and eat. But now the video's actually over. So yeah, that's gonna be it. DarkslayerArim signing off. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day.